Okay, cool. I'm super happy actually to have you here, Greg, as an AI expert actually. So first of all, I will ask you maybe to introduce yourself, Greg, and to tell us who you are, what do you do?
Awesome. Thank you, Luigi. Thank you for the opportunity of having me and chatting about these interesting topics. My name is Gregor. I am the CEO of PugliAI. PugliAI is a generative AI company. We've been creating AI solutions for the past 2 years, and it's a really exciting field. The technology is changing really fast. The use cases that we build are changing really fast, from simple chatbots that are RAG system to more creative solutions. Now that we have Sora, that we have the new image generation from OpenAI that is spot on with words, and all the other AI image and video generation tools, it really opens the gates to so many different use cases that allow creative individuals to become much more efficient, much more productive, and save a lot of time by using this innovative technologies. Just one more thing I want to add is I also have a YouTube channel that just shows how passionate I am about these automation topics. It's called the RPA Champion. For anybody that is interested, I invite them to check it out, where I show practical examples of how we use these new technologies and apply them to our business processes to streamline them, to become more effective, and eventually to kind of quit all work in front of the computer and go outside, sit in the sun and play with our dog, because that's the idea and the objective of AI, and that's what it's trying to do.
Yeah, it's very interesting actually, because you will be one of the person that we interview that stay, let's say, on the other side of the chain, meaning from the AI perspective, because we will interview a lot of culture and creative professionals. I remember that when we met, it was like 1 year ago or 1.5 years ago. It was very interesting because I realized that discussing about AI was a discussing on what does it mean to be human, no? In the sense that the last thing that you said is very important, no? Like using AI for taking time for ourselves and for not doing any more things or jobs, works that are a little bit like not human, I would say. So you already explained this pretty well. So you are AI developers, of course, we understood this. Let's start from your work first. I mean, if you can tell us what AI tools you use, when do you use them? I mean, like for at which point in your business value chain do you use artificial intelligence? What task do you automate using artificial intelligence? Maybe not necessarily looking at the cultural and creative sector, but like in your own practice every day. I know that for you this is a difficult question because you're a developer, so
it's not really a difficult question, because we had different encounters with marketing companies, and we help them automate their processes, all the way from creative processes to more kind of time-consuming and not so creative processes. Just to give a couple of examples, and starting maybe with the not so creative processes. So for example, by using technologies like Make.com, Microsoft Power Automate Desktop, low-code, no-code technologies, we are able to automate our processes by just drag and dropping things on our screen, meaning not need to write any code. Any business user can create these automations. And what we do is we set up these automations for our clients that allow them to entirely automate, for example, their marketing, social media creation process. What does that mean? That means the AI is going to do a research using Perplexity on trending topics in your field. It is going to take that content, then it's going to pass it to another AI like ChatGPT or Claude to create a summary of it and to create a post that is going to be used. This post then can be then saved on Excel sheet for further verification, or it can be just in the same process published automatically to LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, everywhere you want. So by stringing these things together, you eliminate the human from needing to create the text, do the research, create an image, log into LinkedIn, upload the text, upload the image, correct it, add the hashtags, and so forth. It is a few hours of work, especially if you repeat it every day, and depends on how many clients you have to do it. Now, if you create one of these automations and you put it together, you can run it as many times as you want, saving you countless hours, but also removing all of the work that that person was doing previously for social media. The work of that person changes. It is not anymore creating the text, creating the image, publishing on LinkedIn, but their work becomes making sure that the robot is doing a good job and improving the instructions of the AI to make it write better, to make it create a better image, and so forth. So right now, yes, it's not replacing people. It is eliminating those tasks that certain jobs have that are manual and repetitive and time consuming, and is helping people become more productive and kind of optimize their time to be able to do more.
And what's a,
Yeah, go ahead.
what will be about the future in your opinion? What will be the next step? Because for now it's still like what you described, but is there any area in which you see a potential development that will be even more disruptive than it was until now? Because this is something that, I mean, for everybody, like for everyone, this started to be very relevant since 1 year or something like that. No, 1.5 years, maybe 2 years max. No, what will be the next? What we will see in the next 2, 3, 5 years?
I can give you an example, a practical example and a real life example of how the automation of code has evolved. So one of the main use cases for AI, text generating AI, not image generating, not video generating, text generating AI is also to generate code. Now, before this, you had developers that studied Python, that studied C#, they studied different programming languages, and then it would take them months to create an application. They would have to work in teams, they would create code, they would go to Stack Overflow, which is a web page that has questions and answers and tutorials and stuff like that, and they would copy the code and create different applications in times of months. Then ChatGPT came, and it allowed you to copy paste from the ChatGPT page certain snippets of code that otherwise you would have to write yourself or find from a web page. That was in the beginning, like 2 years ago. And then what happened? The code generation became better. It didn't just become better, it became integrated inside of the tools that developers use. So for example, Visual Studio, a coding tool, now inside of it has a chat box that asks you how to generate and what do you want to build and what do you want to generate. So right now in our own company, we went from building around 70% of the code previously by ourselves. Now we are building maybe 10 to 5% of the code. The other 95% of the code is created by AI. Obviously, you have to know how to use the AI, how to structure your workflow and so forth to make it kind of really be beneficial and allow you to save this amount of time. But where I want to get is that in such a short amount of time, we went from 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90% of automating the work of a developer. And that was just over for 1 year. Now, what is going to happen in a year? These AI models are going to become so smart that even the last 10% of where the human is required, it is not going to be required. But what is this going to allow? This is going to allow and democratize coding for everybody. Anybody that has an idea will be able to go and is already able to go to a Replit, to Cursor, to Bolt, all of these applications where you just type in the application that you want to build and the AI takes care of everything. It creates you the code, it deploys it on the server, it runs the tests, it tests your application that there is no errors, it gets the errors and it solves the code by itself and it keeps on going, and you're just kind of sitting there looking at it do all of the things and oh cool, all right, now it's working. Now let me describe in words what I want different. Let me not kind of, previously I would code and look at other examples and ask ChatGPT and copy paste and actually work. But right now the kind of the feeling, this is called a little bit vibe coding, where you're not really coding, you're just telling the AI what to do and you don't even look at the code. Why? Because if it's working, I mean, the AI made some code, but you don't really need to look at it. It's working, everything is working fine. So whatever. So where is this going? This is going to complete automation. Right now, you need to be still a developer to use AI to build a full ready, not an MVP, a full ready scalable application that you deploy. Why? Because you need to check that the AI made everything correctly. But a few months ago, you couldn't even do that. So just let's give it a few more months, and tools like Devon, Cursor, Bolt are going to be usable by anybody, not just by
Those
developers.
people who are not technical, let's say,
Exactly.
don't
And
have technical skills.
And the same goes for other areas. The other areas like creativity, where you had people create posters, banners, logos, whatever kind of would be required from a company to create a commercial or so forth. So all of these things, all of these things are getting automated. And right now, with kind of previously, yes, maybe only a short part of it was automated, but as the technologies get better, it takes away more and more of what we do and allows the AI to do it while we just kind of sit in the driver's seat. Right now we are sitting in the driver's seat, we're going to be sitting in the passenger seat soon, and soon we're not going to be in the car at all. The car is just going to be going, and we're going to be looking at all the cars from the sidewalk, kind of like doing all of the work that we previously done, because AI was created to replace human work. That's the only reason why we created AI. AI is made so that it can do the tasks that we do on the computer. That's the only purpose of AI.
I mean, I kept this part of the discussion for later, but we're jumping in already. When you look at culture and creativity, for example, creativity above all, no? For example, I don't know, video creation, film, scenography, or as you said, that just as you mentioned, visual identity logo. Aren't you afraid, in a way, like a part of the world is saying, that we are going to lose this from human perspective, so that it's not just about, let's say, take the automated task that we have and give into a machine, but rather impacting human creativity? Is there a balance that we have to look between these two things, like AI on one end and
It has not been defined. The European Union is the center that is doing the most work on trying to regulate AI, and it is really wild if you kind of get into it. Why? Because there is really no like regulation on AI. How are our children going to be? They're going to be talking with these AIs. What are these AIs going to tell our children? How are they going to interact? I'm very afraid of kind of AI and where it's evolving, because it is the evolution of AI, and the sole purpose of AI is to do the work that we do in front of the computer. So AI is not created so that it can, I don't know, you can have a fun conversation with like a robot, and you can ask it the meaning of life. Yeah, all cool stuff. But really the driver that is making billions, that is pouring billions into ChatGPT, is reducing costs and improving productivity in companies. How do you do that? How do you reduce cost? By cutting down resources working on your processes, for example. So you eliminate all of the humans that are in your back office doing all of the work. And how do you improve productivity? Well, you improve your processes. So instead of having the people write and do and create, you have the AI write, do and create, if it does it better than the humans.
Doesn't this scare you? In a way.
I mean, it's evolution. It's what we are all kind of going, we are all investing into this. We're all moving in the same direction. And yes, we're all scared because we don't know, we are afraid of the unknown and what is going to happen. But this could be just kind of a natural evolution where we leave this shitty work, excuse my English, of kind of sitting in front of the computer in offices, doing this brain-numbing task. Well, not all of them, but many people are kind of dissatisfied with the things that they do in work. Not many people have a creative jobs where they can express and do whatever they want. Many people have.
I would rather say that
processes.
each job actually has a percentage of work like that you are describing, even the most creative one.
Exactly.
And how can we preserve this only? Like, is there, for example, I don't know, this is a very difficult question as well, but can you make an example, for example, in your field, or if you can think about any creative field in which we can keep a balance between these two things? Like, we can still keep working and keep adding human value to a process, but without indeed having, like today, a lot of time spent in like stupid tasks or shitty tasks, as you call them.
But the thing is that right now, for example, we helped a marketing company create a commercial for for example.
Mhm.
So what was the idea? The idea is that right now AI is not good enough to create a full commercial, but it is good enough to create you the storyboard of the commercial. So instead of the people spending hundreds of hours researching, pulling down pictures, generating little animated pieces of the commercial and putting the storyboard together, we used an AI that string together everything, and in half an hour the AI created the storyboard for the commercial with the voiceover, with everything that was required. That would have taken hundreds of hours of this kind of creative team to pull all the information, to fix it with the tools that they use and so forth. But the only so right now it still gave them room for creativity, it still gave them room to work, it still gave them kind of enhanced their skills, made them better. But as the AI gets better, your role is going to kind of be less and less. So right now, all the vendors and everybody that's using AI is saying, yes, right now it's empowering you. It's making you much more creative, much better. You will be replaced by somebody that knows how to use AI, not by AI. But that's right now. And right now, AI is not able to do all of those things that very soon, very, very soon, it is going to be able to do. Right now, you have to go to Sora, and for example, they released a new image generation tool that is amazing, spot on words, on everything, can create commercials, can create logos, can create pretty much anything that a person would go use Canva or use different tools and spend a little bit of time in creating it. Now you can just type in a prompt and get 4 results of whatever you need. But soon this is going to be incorporated in our process. What does that mean? That means that you're going to have an backend API, an agent that what does it do? The agent, for example, has to create a commercial. Great, it's gonna generate the image, generate the text, go to this web page, publish the content, send an email, create a report. And this technology already exists, it just hasn't been stringed together with in many processes. There is processes that we've also created agents that complete a lot of the work or almost the entire process, mostly in sales and marketing. So for example, you have a list of leads that sign up to your website, and previously you had the person call all of these leads, asking them, qualifying them, and so forth. Well, now you have an AI agent that has the same voice as the person that was calling previously, that talks in the same way that you cannot tell that there is an AI on the other side. Maybe you could, if you were kind of sneaky, you could ask some tricky questions and kind of like figure out, but from the tone of voice, the punctuation, and the way that it's talking, you cannot tell that it's an AI. So the technology is evolving, and as it's evolving, it's taking away more of the tasks that we do in all fields that we do in front of the computer, until there is going to be no reason for us to use a laptop if it's not for pleasure or entertainment.
Yeah. Do you think that then in this case, are there any necessary skills like and capacities that human have to work on in the next years, for example, to use AI properly?
Absolutely great question. So I think one of the most important skills is to be able to talk with AI. So what does that mean? These are large language models, and these large language models, they are trained on words, and they understand the tasks that they have been instructed for to do by understanding what you tell them. Now, if you tell them things that are not very good quality, like many people do, what happens is that you ask these people, have you used ChatGPT? And they will tell you, yeah, but it doesn't really give me the answers that I need. Well, my friend, ChatGPT has the knowledge of the entire human race. And when you ask it to create you a LinkedIn post about automation and you are dissatisfied about the quality and the tone of voice and the style, well, did you maybe ask it to write it in that tone of voice, in that style for those people? Or did you elaborate your prompt, or did you just ask it to create you a post about automation? Well, learn how to use the tool and you will see that you will have an exponential improvement in the quality that these tools give you. Therefore, prompt engineering and prompt design, in my opinion, are fundamental tools in the short term that will give kind of an edge to who knows how to use these tools, because these tools, they don't just generate text. For example, you can go to Google right now and ask you, there is a multimodal, just like ChatGPT. What does it mean? That means that you can upload different kinds of files. So if you go to Google Gemini right now and you upload a sketch of something that you want, and you say, transform this into a CAD file, the AI is going to transform it into your sketch into a CAD file. Now you take this CAD file, which is again another image, and you tell, again in a new chat, to create you the code to transform this into a 3D print. It will create you the code that you need to 3D print this sketch that you started with. So in not even in like 2 minutes, you can have, from a sketch, you can have a 3D code for the thing that you want to print, which is amazing. Why? Because previously you needed a 3D scanner, you needed to know how to write CAD code, you would have to import your sketch into CAD and then draw all the lines and make it 3D, and then you would have to generate the code. It would be a tough process, a very, very tough process, but also not for everybody, because those are very niche skills. Knowing how to create a CAD 3D render image ready for you to 3D print on your 3D printer, it's not easy. I have 2 3D printers and I've never learned how to create CAD files. So this was truly great. Why? Because I can take a picture. With this picture, I feed it to an AI model. The AI model generates me a 3D render. From this 3D render, I generate the code. And that is just one way of using these models that goes beyond just kind of create me a LinkedIn post for automation.
So essentially conversational skill, which is a little bit like even ethics and philosophy in a way, if you want. So learn how to give instruction to a machine, and also understanding the potential that there is behind the machine. These are the main skills. Understanding how you can use it, let's say. So the different usage that you can...
Exactly. How to leverage the technologies that exist to help you automate the tasks and processes that you do in your work.
And in a way, if you think about KPI, key performance indicators in your field or in creative field, whatever it can come to you, how would you measure? I mean, first of all, it is possible to measure success of AI implementation, and what will be the indicators that you use, for example, in your own practice? You mentioned before, like reducing cost, which was the first point, and also probably is cost reduction. Is there something else that we can use for measure?
Yeah, absolutely. Return on investment. So how does this work? You have your own process. Let's take the process of creating a post for LinkedIn. So right now you have a person that is doing this, and how do you find the return on investment? You calculate the cost of your current process. So how many times are you doing, for example, how many times are you posting to LinkedIn every month? 10 times. Great. How long does it take you? 10 minutes. All right, 10 times 10, that's 100 minutes a month spent posting on LinkedIn for that human. How much is a minute of your time? 10 euros. Great. 10 times 100, that's 1,000 euros. Great. This person, my current process costs me 1,000 euros every month to post to LinkedIn. Great. Now I'm going to use AI. All right, how much is it going to be to build the AI solution? 1,000 euros. How much is it going to be to run the AI solution? Cost of the API, 20 cents. Great. Any other costs? Not really. So after the first implementation of you building the AI solution, it is exponentially cheaper to run your process with the AI rather than with a human. The AI also doesn't go on holiday. It's easily scalable to work more things if you have the capacity and if you have the computers required. The AI doesn't go on holiday, it doesn't complain, it doesn't ask for a raise. and so forth. Well, maybe the guys that are selling you the API are going to be your kind of your new boss, because if they close down your API and your AI, you are left kind of naked, because if your entire business depends on the AI provided by OpenAI from Sora, and then one day they say, you know what, we're going to be closing down everything, or maybe we're just going to increase our prices 3 times, whatever, you're kind of left without kind of your processes and without the solution, and you have to go back to your manual work that you used to do. But just to kind of tell you, I could never go back to the way that things were. Even like 6-7 months ago, when I was using ChatGPT, now I don't use ChatGPT anymore, I use other things, but when I was using ChatGPT from the web page, and I didn't have a pro plan, and I would kind of run out of credits, I would be like, you know what, I'm not gonna do anything until the timer is reset and I can use ChatGPT again. Why? Because it's just gonna be wasting time. I'm gonna be wasting time. I'm just gonna let the AI figure it out, and it has already done so, saved me countless hours of time. Why should I be doing it myself? And now this dependency has gone so far that I truly could not even attempt building an AI application if I didn't have AI kind of to help me code. I wouldn't even attempt building a PowerPoint presentation if I couldn't have AI draft me the outline and everything. I wouldn't attempt creating a proposal for a client if I couldn't have AI just go through it and create me the entire proposal. I would never write the entire proposal anymore. Why? Because it would just be an immense waste of time, and the quality would be also lower than what the AI does. So yeah.
You give us an introduction to the next question that I had. Are there any obstacles and challenges that you see in the AI implementation? I would say, I mean, one of them, you are seeing this right now, possibly is the dependence, that you create a new, because that's an issue anyway, while you were talking, I was thinking about this thing of if you will have any problem in the implementation, for example, if they decide to close down ChatGPT or whatever, OpenAI, it's a little bit the same dependency that we have compared to Google, for example, or the email a few years ago, I think that as a provider.
Exactly, highly unlikely, but I mean,
still, yeah.
The whole of Europe depends on this American company. If Europe and the States at one point disagree on certain things, the USA can cut access to European countries to OpenAI. And then what? Well, do we have any of our own models? Yeah, we have open source models and so forth, but I mean, this just shows how much power this technology gives to its owners. Going back to your question, the other thing that is kind of a difficulty, apart from just the dependency, is the bias that is created. So we have AI make decisions now. It is not just kind of creating content, writing text and doing things, but it's creating these things that we would create previously, but it creates them based on the information that we gave to it and that it has studied from us. And as we have seen in the past, it can be very biased. It can be very inaccurate. If you ask it to create an image of a Nazi officer, like we've seen previously from Google Gemini, it would create you a black person as a Nazi officer. Completely wrong misinterpretation of kind of history and so forth. If you would ask it other figures, it kind of remove the white person entirely from kind of history. And if you would ask it to kind of like create you different, like create me a sailor from Portugal, or it would create an Indian person that is on a Portuguese ship. So bias can be in images, in videos, in text and so forth, and it depends a lot on the information that we give to AI. So it is kind of the responsibility is of the humans to not introduce this bias, but this bias will always exist. And the more information that we give to this AI, the more bias we are going to find inside of our processes. Now it is not an issue, but for example, we are working with a government agencies and we have to filter all of the emails that they received. Now these emails are going to be filtered on certain criteria. Now who's gonna say that this AI 30,000 times a day is gonna make the right decision?
It's probably the parameter that you set at the beginning,
Yes, there is. Well, you give it some rules, give it some kind of conditions, but at certain things can also be interpreted in different ways. But the way that AI interprets it is like we interpret it based on our experiences. The AI interprets it based on the data and information that it has. Now, if it has fuzzy, unclear data, it will make bad decisions. Bad decisions can lead to you not getting a grant from the bank, can lead to you not getting your insurance, can lead to you not getting your monthly payment, can lead to you getting a higher rent, can lead to you getting a higher fee for your bills, can lead to a lot of damaging things, can classify you as a negative person towards the government and make you lose social points like there is in China, and lots of other things. So right now there is no regulations, no rules, no nothing about this. It's not being implemented yet at this scale, but it's being pioneered in all fields and is being adopted in all fields. Some fields like marketing and sales are way more ahead, and also kind of like, the creative fields, but very soon it will be in all areas of our most crucial processes that are required to maintain life as it is. Meaning, like, I want my salary, I want the bank to work, I want my insurance, my bills, a job, and all of these kind of basic services, health, and so forth. AI is going to decide whether you are going to have priority over a health check or another person based on your health history, based on the information that's provided to you, to the AI, on what it sees. It's not going to be a human anymore that's going to use the decision, whatever decision might be even a wrong decision, but it will be an AI that will be trained, and there will be no kind of in the beginning there will be control, but as we kind of move forward, the AI is just gonna do things autonomously, and everybody is not gonna even care about why it takes certain decisions. It will be just like, AI decided, man, what do you want? But it's not like that. Whatever, man, AI decided. Who's ever gonna like look into it and figure out why is it making these decisions? And that is kind of another question. It's very hard to trace the reasoning of the AI, why it makes certain decisions and so forth. So you have to test it and so forth, but if it solves 3,000 cases a day, maybe it does make 1%, 2% error, but that maybe 1-2% error could really mean a lot to certain people or to certain processes. So
we are going towards the end of this discussion. Actually, thank you for this. You're sharing a lot of interesting insight. One of the questions that I have for you, it will be, and we are saying this already, are there any other ethical consideration in the use of AI? For example, one of these can be this one, no, that you're mentioning right now, no, like the weight, the fact that you cannot trace, no, a sort of responsibility in a way. Another one that we are hearing a lot, it's like the cost in terms of sustainability, no. For example, right now, at least the level of technology that we have today, we know that, for example, for keeping all the data in the server, these consume a lot of different resources. I mean, on the other hand, you have people saying that by implementing, by developing more AI system, this will actually radically change the way in which we look at sustainability in a way, no? Because by using more AI, we will arrive to a world in which we will use actually less resources. What is your opinion on this? Like,
good point. So,
and I'm talking, of course, in terms of environmental sustainability, but we might also mention the social one, as you said before, in a way.
That's a great question. Many of the processes that we are doing and that are very energy intensive and very work intensive can be very easily automated by AI, allowing for savings. It is also true that initially AI consumed a lot of electricity and a lot of energy, meaning that, okay, you ask a powerful model, hey, create me a LinkedIn post about automation. And if you ask the model 01 from OpenAI, the newest model that costs $75 per million tokens. So if you ask it a question like that, it's going to generate around 20,000 tokens between thinking and the answer that it provides. That's equivalent to half of your fuel tank for your car in terms of petrol and in terms of cost. It is also true that new models like DeepSeek has completely revolutionized the cost of this. So it is kind of I think that the price is not going to be the cost. The environmental cost is not going to be so dramatic, because evolution and kind of the improved algorithms are going to be allowed to run on cheaper and cheaper infrastructures, allowing us to run really powerful AI models even on our cell phones, which is already possible, or on our computers, meaning that we don't require a lot of electricity, a lot of energy.
Well, I will ask you maybe for the last question. I mean, you know that the project Cremel, we work a lot with cultural and creative professionals. Would you have any advice for a professional working in this field while once approaching artificial intelligence? What will be your advice to these people?
It is to learn these new technologies, learn the tools that can help them become more productive. Because right now it is kind of a race. It is a race on who is going to be able to become more productive, is going to win. Eventually, we're all going to have access to these technologies, know about these tools and technologies and so forth. But right now, these tools are still not widespread. ChatGPT is the most widespread tool that everybody knows about it. But there is so many other technologies that allow you to save a lot of time. So curiosity right now is very important, and one's own will to search the tools and search the knowledge that they need to become more productive. You have to put it onto your own responsibility. If you postpone it and delay it and say, yeah, it's somebody else is doing it already, somebody else is being more productive than you, and every day that passes, you are going to become less and less desirable in the market, less and less productive, and therefore make less and less revenue until you will be forced to adapt to the new standards. But once you're forced to adapt to the new standards, it will be a little bit too late, because you're just going to be like everybody else and you're not going to have a competitive edge. So if you want that competitive edge, right now you have to take that painful path of not knowing and going in the direction of discovering these new things that you don't still feel like it's a necessity and a must. You feel like it's nice to have, but once that feeling changes from nice to have to necessity, it will be too late. So yeah,
Act before that it becomes too widespread.
exactly. Act before it becomes mainstream. It's already becoming mainstream. So there's still time to become an expert in the area, in your niche, by leveraging the different tools that are available.
Okay, perfect, Greg. Thank you very much for this. You shared a lot of insights on this. Thank you for this, and keep the. I mean, you are very enthusiastic about this, but on the other hand, you also, from the development point of view, you also shared a lot of concern that you have, which is good. It seems that you are sort of balanced on this thing. Do you have any other, I don't know, final thought on this, final remark?
Yeah, I wish that AI never came to existence, maybe, because it is going to, in a very short time, it is going to bring very big changes. So these changes are going to impact completely the way that we work, our relations, our children, our family, our friends. Everything is going to be impacted by this AI revolution. I mean, just for example, the dating scene changed in the last 30 years, but it was 30 years of change, meaning that initially people would get married by meeting people through friends, family, pubs, going to school, college, and it was like that until 2012, early 2012. And since then, it's been social media or kind of like dating apps that have completely changed this area. But it took 30 years of kind of pioneering and trying these technologies and adapting. And still, in 30 years, one generation, it was still a crazy change. Now, the changes that are coming due to AI are much faster and much more impactful, and are going to change our lives, our children's lives, everything around us in a very, very short amount of time. That's why it's important to know these technologies, use them, even though you don't like them and you don't I don't like AI, but I have a company that builds AI solutions. I understand the problems that it can cause and the kind of, I would honestly have preferred not to have all of this AI technologies. It's too much, in my opinion, but you have to stay ahead of it, not ahead of it, stay in line with it and learn it in order to stay relevant and competitive.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much, Gregor,
awesome.
for all the insight. Thank you, and talk to you soon then.
Awesome. Thank you. And thank you everybody for listening.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.